Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome. And also don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in following me. Today I will be doing a salty cold girl cut crease look. The reason I say salty is because it's really cold out right now and I'm feeling salty. So I thought that rather than throw a fit, I would channel that negative energy into creating this cold girl cut crease with a bit of salt in it. I'll get started now. So the first step is always to prime your lids. A lot of you probably already know this. I had been doing makeup for quite a long time and I just never bothered priming my lids. And now that I've started, it really is a game changer. Basically, priming your lids involves applying a eyeshadow primer or a concealer and then setting it with powder. And what this does is it prevents it from creasing as much. It still probably will crease a little bit after a while, but it really makes a difference in terms of when it creases and how much it creases. So I'm using this little paint pot thing I got from MAC years ago. I probably shouldn't tell you how many years ago, so I won't. But I've had it and it's been sealed, so it's still okay. A lot of people use concealer or they will use, what do you call it, those little pots. Basically any type of eyeshadow primer or concealer will do. And you want to apply it anywhere you will be applying eyeshadow. So I'm going to apply it all the way on my lids and then all the way up to almost up to my brow bone on both sides. And I'm just going to use my fingers and pat it on. My fingers are clean and I'm just going to kind of pat it on wherever I want it. Try to do it symmetrically, but symmetry and I are not good friends, so I don't always succeed. So now that I have applied the primer, I'm going to take a little bit of powder and set it with the powder. For setting powder, I use this Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and all I do is I take a small fluffy brush and I lightly swirl it in there, and then I just kind of apply it loosely all over wherever I have applied the eyeshadow primer, so all the way up. And actually, I just recently discovered I had this. I got it in a Sephora birthday gift thing. And before that I was just using my compact. So I would take the brush and just swirl it into my compact powder and it worked just as well. So if you don't have this, you know, I don't think it's necessary. But if you do have it, that's great too. So seeing it go everywhere, so that means I probably put too much on. So now I'm going to let it set for about a minute and then move on with the rest of the tutorial. So for this look I'm going to be using probably a couple of different palettes. When you live in the coldest place ever, it's minus 35 degrees Celsius here, and it literally hurts to go outside. When you're outside and you come back inside, you look in the mirror and everything is pink, red, white, and maybe a little bit of blue. So I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette. It has a lot of really nice pinks in it, so I'm going to start there. And then build from there. I'm not 100% sure what exactly I'm going to end up with, so I'm just going to be doing a little bit of experimenting here. I'm going to start with this light pink color as the transition color. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to start with it right up here. This might end up looking really ghastly, or it might turn out, I really don't know. I'm going to put it up here above my crease and then kind of blend up. I'm going to do a lot of blending, making sure that it doesn't you know, look patchy or awkward. And actually setting your lids and priming them makes a big difference as well as to how patchy your makeup looks, because it will apply more evenly if it's primed properly. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye and hope that I get it fairly symmetrical, although as I said before, I'm not very good at doing things symmetrically. I can't seem to do it, so I have to really concentrate. The good thing about makeup is that it can be taken off and, you know, you can do it again if you're not happy with it. So, kind of. Not exactly, but it's kind of working. So I'm just gonna leave this where it is, and then fix this a little bit higher. Plus my face isn't that symmetrical. Like one eye is smaller than the other and one eye is a little bit higher than the other, so trying to get things exactly symmetrical, it just never works out. But as long as the final look, you know, is passable, I'm okay with it. And don't even get me started on my eyebrows. One of them is always longer than the other and higher than the other and thicker than the other, and I just can't get it right. And I don't trust anybody else to do them either. So, I know, it's a first world problem. Who cares? Okay, so now that it's sufficiently blended, I'm going to go and take this slightly deeper color and go right underneath, right above where my crease is. Now my eyes are slightly hooded, so when I open them, usually you can't really see much. Like, they're not completely hooded, but they're kind of hooded. You can't see that much of my lid. So I'm going to, I usually, whenever I do a cut crease, I do it higher than my lid. I'm sorry, higher than my crease. And that's because you can't see anything when I open my eyes otherwise. So by doing it this way, I'm creating a false crease a little bit higher than my actual crease. And then that way the makeup that I'm doing will actually show to a certain degree. So I'm blending this as well as I can. And I'm doing it all the way on the inside of my inner corner as well, because when I cut the crease, it kind of, the difference is going to be nice and stark, and I want it to be for my whole entire eye. So I'm doing the same thing on this side. A little bit higher than my crease. And then just blending like my life depended on it. Which it doesn't, but I'm just talking. So just tune me out if you get sick of this rambling, because I do that a lot. Okay, so I've got the first two colors down. I'm actually going to deepen this a little bit over here. And so the Cold Girl makeup look usually has a lot of pinks, you know, a lot of silver highlight. So to cut your crease, or I should say to cut my crease, I usually use a concealer. I often use NARS, Tarte Shape Tape, but I use it all up, so I'm going to use my small NARS concealer, and the shade is Ginger Medium 2. But you can use any concealer or anything, you know, that helps you cut the crease. Another thing I was going to say is that some people use micellar water to clean up the area before actually cutting the crease, but I don't feel like doing that. I'm too lazy to do that, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this concealer and put it on my hand so I don't contaminate the actual bottle. And then I'm going to take this flat brush, this little flat brush. Actually, I prefer a brush that's even smaller than this, but I can't find it right now. Put a little bit of concealer on it, and then just go ahead and start cutting. So I'm cutting it above my natural crease. I'm creating that type of a nice shape that kind of follows my eye shape. This is a full cut crease. There's also such thing as a half cut crease. Good thing about cut creases, you can use, you know, any color combination, and then it can be appropriate for pretty much any occasion. You know, if you use really subtle colors, you can even do it on a day-to-day basis if you have the time or if you inclination. And so I'm going to fill this all in. And I'm going to do it the same thing on the other side. I'm going to have to fix the shape a little bit, I think, because it's a little bit wonky. But that's okay. It happens. Get my hair out of the way. I don't know why I don't put it up. I get cold. And as I mentioned before, I don't like being cold. So I leave it down most of the time. So I'm just cutting this one, filling it in. Like that. I'm just going to fix that part a little bit and go back and kind of fix this one a little bit too. So I'm trying to tell if it's symmetrical, but as I mentioned before, I'm not very good at doing things symmetrically, so I really have to concentrate. I can barely even write legibly, which is kind of ridiculous, but I have terrible handwriting. Okay, I think that's good. So now that I've cut my crease, I'm going to go ahead and get the colors that I'm going to use on my actual lid. Now I'm going to use this really pretty light color called Bubbly on my inner lids, like the inner, the first part of my lids. I'm going to use my finger, but I'm not going to, the reason I'm not using a brush is that sometimes I find the brush doesn't pick up the product as well. So I use my finger when I feel like that's going to be the case, but I don't double dip between the eyeshadow colors. And then I also make sure not usually, I should say, I also make sure that my fingers are clean before applying, before dipping it into any sort of eyeshadow color, because I don't want to develop any sort of an infection. And as a nurse, I'm always paranoid about things like staph infections. You know, our skin carries bacteria naturally, and sometimes it can get out of control. And I've seen some things that I'd rather not experience, so I try to keep it as clean as possible, and then I disinfect it with alcohol spray afterwards, just to make sure that it's not going to, you know, start developing any sort of bacterial colony or something like that. So anyway, I did this bubbly color on my inner lids, and I'm going to take a different finger and I'm going to do this light pink color here. Now what is it called? Pink Diamond. Sounds good. Okay, I'm going to put that on the middle using a different finger. That is really pretty. I really like that one. Pink Diamond it is. This is such a beautiful palette. I just love it. The funny thing is, this palette isn't even actually mine. It's my sister's. So she's really nice. She lent it to me a few years ago. So I'll be giving it back to her at some point, but I'm going to hopefully find a new one and give her the new one rather than giving her this used one. Now I'm going to take Fling, it's called. It's another pink color. And put it on my outer corner. I love this palette. It's just so beautiful. Do you have this palette? I'd love to know. Okay, and I'm going to try to see if it's even. I think this needs a little bit more of this on this side. Now I'm going to take this liquid liner, and what is it now? It's Liquid Coal by Seraphine Botanicals. I got it in, I think, maybe in one of my glam bags. I'm going to use this today because I can't find my NYX Epic Ink Liner, which is what I usually use. So I'm just going to kind of follow my natural eye shape and then just do a bit of a wing because I like wings. I often start at the outer edge when applying liquid liner because sometimes if I start at the inner edge, there's a lot of product on here and it tends to glob. At least mine have done that often, so I've decided, or I started just doing the outer edge first, and then by then some of the product is used up, and so there's not as much on the little applicator brush thingy, and then I do the inner one, the inner side. And then do the same thing on this side. And then just go up a little bit. It's not that much product on here, so I'm not sure. I generally like it to be a little bit, there to be a little bit more of a product on here, but actually for a cold girl makeup look, it's not really supposed to be very heavy on liner, I think, even though I like heavy liner. So I'll just make do with this one. Okay. Just hoping it's even. Okay. So for the cold girl makeup look, at least the ones that I've seen, it's not very heavy on liner, but I'm going to use black liner on my waterline just because that's what I do, and because this is a salty cold girl look, not just a cold girl look, and the salty part of me doesn't want to not use liner. Every time I use my black eyeliner, you know, the soft liner, the normal pencil liner I use it from, it's a Sephora one, I always clean the tip of it with an alcohol wipe because I'm paranoid about getting, you know, bacterial infection. And so I know that with some liners, if you use an alcohol wipe with them, it kind of changes the texture and application, the ease of application of the liner, but I haven't found that to be the case with this one. So I've disinfected this one multiple times and it still lines just as well. And this is just the Sephora retractable eyeliner, waterproof eyeliner. It's just like a pencil, not very expensive, and it works really well. I really like it. So anyway, I'm going to start lining my waterline with this now that the alcohol wipe has dried. Don't want to do it when it's wet, otherwise it'll sting. So try not to pull anything. The eye area is very delicate, and so I'm just going to line both gently. And this eye's watering a little bit, so not because of the liner, just because it feels like it. Okay, so I have lined I've used eyeliner on my waterlines, and now I'm going to get a little bit more of eyeshadow and just do the bottom part. I'm going to take the same darker pink color, Risque, and just go and underline the outer part of my eye with it and hope for the best. I'm just gently kind of patting it on here. I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to save the inner corners for after I've done everything else because I feel like that's more of a finishing touch type of thing. I'm going to now put on some mascara. Usually I use L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara in Carbon Black, so that's what I'll be using today as well. Actually, I lied. My L'Oreal mascara is upstairs and I'm too lazy to go and get it, so I will be using this Billion Dollar Beauty Forever Lash Mascara in black. And before I do that, I will curl my eyelashes. So this torturous device does a decent job. I hold it for about 10 seconds and then I move it down slightly and do the same thing. It does a good job at initially curling them, but my eyelashes are very, very straight and stubborn, so they don't like to hold a curl. So this should last me about 5 seconds. But I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to put some mascara on. I put mascara on even when I'm going to use false lashes because I find that it holds them up rather than, and makes them look a little bit, you know, well, like lifted, which I think looks better than having them droop all the way down into my eyes. Of course, that could just be my technique too. So I'm going to do, forgot to curl the other side. So I'm going to do the other side now and hope for the best. Okay. It's actually a nice mascara. I should use it more often. My lashes are pretty long, but they're so straight they may as well not even be there. You can't see them when I've got my eyes open because they're so straight. I should also mention that when I started doing this tutorial, I was already wearing makeup, not eye makeup, but I was wearing, you know, foundation in my base and lipstick obviously because I had gone out earlier. So this is mostly just adding on to what I had already done. In the future, I will probably do a tutorial for anyone who's interested from start to finish. But most of the time I will have had my base on because I kind of have to fit my makeup in, my makeup looks in whenever I have a chance. And usually I already have had to go out to, you know, do a few things in the morning. Okay, so next step will be false lashes. Usually I wear really dramatic false lashes for my makeup looks. I actually don't wear false lashes at all in real life. I don't go out with them, but I like how they look on camera most of the time. Sometimes I feel like I look like Mr. Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street, but you know what? He's a good character, so that's fine. I don't care. But this time I'm going to use this. They're still dramatic, but they're slightly less dramatic, so instead of being like 10 inches long, they're like 8 inches long. Anyway, I'll show you them in a second. Most of the time I use these Ioni Wispy Criscross Faux Mink lashes. They're very, very dramatic and long. They're probably about an inch long. And, you know, I like them, but I would never wear them out. I actually probably wouldn't even wear these ones out. These are Ioni handmade faux mink lashes, wispy, medium, smoky flare. I haven't worn these ones before, but I like the shape, and I didn't want something quite as dramatic as the ones that I usually wear. So I'll show you the difference in case you're interested. I'm interested, so I'm gonna just see how different they actually are. It's over here. Okay, so the ones I usually wear are these. I don't know how well you can see them. And then these are the ones that I'm going to wear today. So they're quite a bit lighter, but they're still pretty dramatic, actually. I'll do this. Now I know why people do this. These are the ones that I'm gonna wear, and so I'm just gonna show you them that way, and then you can kind of see the difference. So the ones I'm gonna wear today are dramatic, but they're a lot less dramatic. I generally use velour eyelash glue. I'm still looking for one that I really love. I don't mind the velour one, but sometimes I find that it's a little bit too tacky. Maybe it's just old, I don't know. But if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. I also really like Wet n Wild's eyelash glue, but it's hard to get a hold of for some reason. So anyway, I'm looking for a really good eyelash glue, so if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and get these, put glue on them, and then try to apply them on camera, but I'm not very good at that, so you'll have to be a little bit forgiving. I've applied the eyelash glue and I've let it kind of sit for about 15-20 seconds, and now I'm going to attempt to put it on evenly. I actually really hate applying eyelashes. I just hate it. I can't get them even, and it drives me bananas, so I just don't like it. But I do it because I feel like sometimes if I have a very dramatic eyeshadow look and I don't have the lashes to support the look, it looks a little bit strange on me. And then I also feel like I look like I haven't slept in 10 years. I mean, that part's true, but that's not the look that I'm going for. So anyway, enough with my rambling. So I'm gonna just put it against my natural lash line, just slightly above, and then hope that it sticks the way I want it to. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Okay. So now here's the other one. I'm gonna hope that I can get them even. Okay, let's try this. These are kind of nice. I think I like them better than the other ones so far. Are they even? You know what? I just can't even tell. Are they even? Whatever. It doesn't matter. That's fine. I'm just going to pretend that they are, because otherwise it's going to drive me bananas. If anybody has any tips on how to apply eyelashes evenly, you know, I would love to hear it, because I've applied them hundreds of times and I hate it so much. Or if you have any tips to make it less of a tedious chore, that would also be very welcome. So now I'm going to work on this bottom inner corner here. I wanted to put a little bit of maybe a pop of blue on the inner corner, because I just think that that always looks nice. So I think I will use, I'll be right back. For the under inner corner, I often like to use a blue or a green or a gold. I just think it looks nice. Maybe it doesn't, but I really like it. I'm going to be using my BH Cosmetics Sub-Zero palette. I really like this brand. I have so many palettes from them, and I reach for them, you know, over and over again. The colors are always vibrant, and they show up on my skin tone, which is a big thing, because a lot of colors, you know, they just don't. I'm not really even that dark. It's just that they don't show up properly, or they don't look like they should look. They don't look the same as they do in the what do you call this thing, palette, which, you know, makes sense, because my skin is darker, so you would need a different color to make that color pop the way it does. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I'm going to use this color, which is Frostbite, which is actually, you know, very, very appropriate for the look I'm going for, and very, very appropriate for what's going on outside. Anyway, this is the color, and I'm just going to take a little bit of it and just kind of put it here on my inner, under my inner eye here. I really believe that makeup should be fun. So a lot of times I'll do something and it won't look good, but it doesn't really bother me because it's just makeup. And the whole purpose of makeup for me is, you know, to relax and have fun, and to, you know, express artistic creativity, which is what I like to do. So if I look like a clown, I look like a clown. It really doesn't matter. So I'm never really hard on myself if my makeup doesn't turn out, or if, you know, something is a little wonky. I don't take myself or my makeup too seriously. I really think it's fun. I really hope that you also are that way too, because if you take this stuff too seriously, you know, there's not any reason to. Everybody makes mistakes and everybody's different, so it's good to be forgiving of yourself. Especially, I sometimes find that people are really hard on themselves for little mistakes, and it's, you know, it's a good idea to be your own biggest fan, your own biggest support, because you'll find that if you support you, other people will also support you eventually, because you will be exuding that, you know, that confidence and that self-love, and I just think that that's a really good way to approach anything basically in life. If and it's a hard thing to do. I had to train myself to do that as well, but I really find that it's the best way to be. Makes life a lot more bearable, and a lot more satisfying in lots of ways, even if you're not where you want to be, or, you know, where you had envisioned yourself 5 years ago. That's okay, but, you know, just try to enjoy the process is what I'm trying to say in this rambling. I'm really loving this color combination that I have right now, but I wanted to, it doesn't look that as wintry as I want it to look, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to add this Moon Magic from my Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I forgot the name of it. I'm going to add some of this to the inner corners of my eyes here. See how it looks. This is such a pretty palette. I'm also going to add some underneath here, underneath the bottom of my lid on this side. Last year I also did a salty cold girl makeup look because I was salty. Excuse me. Pardon me. Last year I also did a salty cold girl makeup look because winter, especially this kind of weather, always makes me feel very salty. You'd think I'd be used to it by now, being born and raised here, but I hate it. I really, really hate the cold. Although I do suspect that part of me gets some sort of sick pleasure out of complaining about it. So I don't know. I think it would be, I'd like it if it wasn't as cold, but then I also wouldn't have as much to complain about in terms of the weather. But just the fact that I can, you know, take the time to just complain about the weather just shows how privileged I already am living here. Okay, so I like the way that looks. So I'm going to leave it like that. And now I'm going to get some pink blush, because when you come in from the extreme cold weathers, your cheeks get pink, and your nose gets pink, and your lips, I don't know what, but everything gets kind of a pink pinky color. So I'm going to go and get a pink blush and I'll be right back. I'm going to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Pink Passion blush palette. I don't know what happened to it, but there's something residue all over it. Anyway, I'm going to use the Basically color, which is this one right here. And I'm going to put it on my cheeks. Liberally, because when you're out in the cold, everything is just pink. And when you're out, you know, when there's a risk of frostbite, boy, everything is really pink and red. I'm going to put some on my nose. And then just kind of put it everywhere that it ends up, that you end up red when you come in from the cold. Actually, even the tip of my chin gets red. So I'll do that too. Okay, I think that's pink enough. I think. I may have to come back and put some more on. I don't know. Okay. The lipstick I have on right now is Velvet Teddy by MAC. I'm going to add some of this lighter pink stuff that I got a while ago from Starway Cosmetics. They sent me this really nice lipstick. I like it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this Sweet Street gloss that I got in one of my Ipsy packages. It's got some sparkle in it. It's actually really pretty. Usually I stay away from glosses because my lips are kind of uneven, and I find that when I put gloss on it, it really highlights that. So I'm just going to put it on the inner part of it. There. Now I'm going to finish up by getting a silver highlighter and then just going to town. I'll be right back. So I actually got this High Glow powder from Dollar Tree, and I just love it. I've been using it for a couple of years, not the same one. I had another one and it shattered, but it's a really nice, just a kind of a pure silvery color, and it's got a really nice shine. So I'm going to use this and just kind of put it over top of everything. So I'm kind of putting it over top of the pink here a little bit. It's just a really beautiful, it just gives a really beautiful sheen. So I pretty much get makeup from wherever it's available. I'll try it out as long as it doesn't have any harmful ingredients. So I've gotten this from the Dollar Tree and I love it. But I also have medium end makeup, low end makeup, high end makeup. I'm not very picky. I like all types of makeup. If it looks good, I don't really care where it's from. I mean, as long as nobody's getting hurt being made, you know, with it getting made and that type of thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be high end for me to like it. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So I've put this beautiful High Glow powder on my cheeks and my nose. I think I need a little bit more. And now I just need one more thing to finish off this salty girl, cold girl makeup look. And that is my hat. Actually, it's my sister's hat. So tell me what you think. I would love to know in the comments if you like this look. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you again. This is my first actual talking YouTube video, so I'm going to be doing a lot more now that I have a little bit more time on my hands. So I hope to see you next time as well. Thanks.